Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this Tuesday, July the 18th, 2023. Thank you for tuning in and glad to have you guys here. Clash of the Superpowers. Ever since this war in Ukraine started, it's actually been a clash of the superpowers, clash of the titans. And how does this clash work? Well, there's an awful lot of saber rattling nuclear saber rattling going on. Things like Russia moving missiles, nuclear tipped missiles into Belarus, White Russia, right up against the border of Ukraine and NATO countries. Things like talk about using these weapons has come from Russia. But the West isn't. The West has done certain things to show their side, to show their power as well, like moving troops into certain areas and things like that. A display of force by supporting Ukraine as well. And so both sides are bristling right now, basically, with not only just rhetoric, but it's very, very probable that both sides are on high alert. Because there's something called a first strike. That's what it's called in nuclear terms. It's called a first strike. And when tensions are high, both sides have to be on high alert for a first strike. Because a first strike can strike lightningly fast, and it can take out your capability if you're not fully on guard. And what does fully on guard mean? Well, they have a term for this. It's called DEFCON. They have different levels of DEFCON. I think there's like 4 levels. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I do know that there's like levels of DEFCON. Each time they move down a level of DEFCON, it's getting a little bit more nervous, a little bit more hair trigger, a little bit more like, oh boy, we better watch carefully or we might get blown up ahead of them, and we better hit them first before they hit us, sort of an idea, as they move up. And I guarantee you guys, we're on a high level of alert right now. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we would be on a high level of alert right now, and so would Russia. This is not a good thing. This is called a Cold War. Now, what is the odds that a nuclear war could happen, and what would it look like, and how would this play out for you guys out there? Well, most likely, you'd never see it coming. Or if you did, it'd be very, very short notice. Maybe something like in the middle of the night your phone goes off or something, and just 5 minutes before it all happens, and then your phone goes dead. And you're like, what happened? You don't know because you couldn't wake up quick enough to get to your phone in time to see the alert message or whatever. And then the phone went dead and everything went dead. And you have to grope through the house and you're like, honey, what did we do with those flashlights? We got any candles? What happened? You don't know. You look out the window, and it's the middle of the night. And your city is just dark. The street lights are all out. Everything's just dark, but you can see the sky really well. The stars are all out and everything. The Milky Way. You've never seen the Milky Way so good. There's no light pollution. And all of a sudden there's a bright, blinding white flash off in the distance that lights the whole sky up like lightning. You're like, honey, what was that? What was that? It just lit the whole sky up for like 5 seconds, just like day. And you could see the colors on the trees outside and everything when the sky was lit up for like 5 whole seconds. What was that? Off in the distance. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes goes by and you hear a loud thump sound, a loud boom, like a boom sound. Like not real loud, but like a dull thud off in the distance. That's what it would be like if it happened in the middle of the night, woke you up and stuff. if there was a mistake made. What could a mistake be? Well, when they're on high alert, different things can set them off. So we're in a very dangerous place right now. Things like, what if an asteroid were to come down? They didn't know about it, one side or the other, and they thought that it was an intentional strike from the other side. Well, the Earth does get asteroids. Let's just hold your breath and say we better not get one right now, especially one that would come down into an area that's very sensitive, like maybe an asteroid that would come down on St. Petersburg, or an asteroid that would come down on Moscow, or on Washington, or anywhere around New York, or any place like that. It could set this whole thing off. And there was times during the Cold War where we just came within a hair's breadth of having the whole thing set off. No, mankind needs to get rid of these weapons. And we started to do it, and we did pretty good. We reduced from, like, I think Russia had like they had ungodly amounts. America had like 35,000, and Russia had like 50,000 or something. I forget what it was, but back in the day when it was the Soviet Union and stuff, and they just built up all these nuclear weapons willy-nilly, and they could have blown the world up 50 times over. They had 10 times more than they got right now. So we came that far. I mean, in nuclear arms reduction, we need to say, hey, what the heck are we doing? We're building them back again. We don't need these things. Not if the world's being run properly. We don't need these things. Anyway, enough talk about Clash of the Super Titans, Clash of the Superpowers. But right now we're in a Clash of the Superpowers. And things are building up. They're building more of these nuclear weapons, not only in Russia and China too, and the United States, and it's bad news. I just wanted to point out too the corruption, and this is the reason why all this is happening right now. It's all interconnected to corruption in the system. Do not make a mistake about it. We have the politically corrupt. The politicians that are in power right now are the most corrupt that they've ever been in the history of the world. They're so corrupt that they just expect all the others around them to be corrupt like them. They expect to have help. If they run into a situation where they're guilty of a crime or whatever else, they expect all the others around them within the structure of the system that they've created for themselves to cover for them. Detroit police commissioner caught with a prostitute. And he was asking the arresting officers around him when they were arresting to help him out. Hey, help me out, boys. Help me out here. Make it cover for me here a little bit here. Smooth this over. In the system right now, there's political bribery going on. There's everybody's on the take. You don't know what that means. It means they're getting money under the table. The system is so corrupt now. Political favors, left and right, payola. It's just, the whole thing is just a corrupt mess at this point. And they've got so corrupt that nothing can get done. It's like, say, for instance, they want to fix a bridge. The bridge needs repair. It's all cracked to pieces. The cars that go over go clump, 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 bang, bang, bang. Your car, This has always been a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, is the highways, anyway. But the bridge, just making this up, the bridge needs repair, okay? So how it's done now in the system is they put bids in and stuff, Well, whose bid's going to get picked? And it's not the lowest price bid. Why? Is because they're going to get a little kickback. They get a little money back under the table. And this goes on, repeated thousands of times over, but the bid will be enormously high. And so what they have to do is they have to make it seem like they're working. So they go up there and they set up a whole bunch of cones everywhere, leave the cones there for weeks, months, and the people have to try to drive around that. Now, they stop traffic. The big long line of traffic every single day at that bridge for the next 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. Because they're trying to make the job seem like it is worth $10 million or $20 million for a little bit of, for a $20,000 repair, if that. And this is the kind of corruption that goes on in the system. Moving on, taking a look at the silver price today. She's shooting up. She's up 33 cents at 25.09. I'm going to tell you, I think this is just a little bit premature, but we're going to see this sort of action much bigger when it's not premature. What I mean by premature is what's going on out there is the Fed hasn't pivoted. When it's clearly obvious that they've made a pivot, then we're going to see, no doubt about it, then at that point, this is going to be like a rocket ship to the moon. And that's why this is a little bit premature. And this is kind of action is like 30 cents. No, it's going to be $3.30. That's the kind of action we're going to see when this thing comes unhinged. When the pivot is obvious to everybody that the Fed's pivoted. But they're going to keep jacking these interest rates up just a little bit higher, a little bit higher. It's like, how high can we go? It's kind of like a bunch of morons out there jacking up a car. Hey, one moron, he says to the other moron, let's take her up a little bit higher. Oh, this is fun. Let's get her up a little bit higher on this wheel. A little bit higher on this wheel, a little bit higher on this wheel. And they keep going, putting blocks and bricks. And in the end, they start running out of blocks and bricks and stuff. So they put old beer cans and stuff. A little bit higher. Oh, boy, this is fun. And the car's tilting on it and 75 degrees up in the front end, and it's sitting on old beer cans and stuff. What's going to happen in the end? Car's going to fall over. Well, they're going to keep raising these interest rates. Oh, just another 25 basis points. Oh, boys, let's slip another 25 in there. Get them up higher and higher. She's going to crack. They're going to crack it. But they ain't going to do nothing until they crack it. And so this is on this side of the crack. So we're on the side where the car's still being supported. It's jacked up. It's woggling really bad, but she's still being supported enough. We got to wait until she falls, and then they have to come in and fix things. Then it's obvious that they've pivoted. Then we're ready to go to town on everything out there. Inflation's just going to run wild, and they can't let it. They just can't let it go forever. They can't let the system completely crash and all of the malinvestment wash out now at this point, because there wouldn't be a system left. We're talking Mad Max. That's what it would be left of the system if they let it all purge out. There wouldn't be nothing left. It's all malfeasant Fugazi money. It's all hot air. They can't let it all spill out. They have to come repair it at a certain point. It's just, where are they going to step in? This is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the fall. It's going to fall. Then where are they going to come and where are they going to step in? When they step in, this is going to be unhinged. That's when we're going to start to get the 100 times. But, the same time we're going to get the 100 times in silver, you're going to have a hyperinflating currency. So, it's all really got to do with purchasing power. They say, well, if silver goes up 100 times what it is now, if it's $3,000 an ounce, or whatever 100 times is. I haven't figured it in my mind, but I think it's 3,000 an ounce, isn't it? Something like that. Anyway, it's an amazing price on the stuff. But if the dollar doesn't buy, if $3,000 doesn't buy any more than $30 does now, you're right back around where you started again. But no, you're not. You're not. Because if you're a saver in the bank, those $3,000 are still going to be $3,000. But the $30 ounce of silver you buy is going to go up to 3,000. You know what I mean to say? And so it's going to keep up with the inflation. So you're still going to be able to have the purchasing power you used to have with it. And that's a big thing. That's big. That's more important than, and it could be much larger than that even when you consider what's going on, because we've never, ever, ever, ever seen a coordinated, synchronized collapse of the entire world's economy all at once, caused by the central banks. Synchronized. It's always been one country going down or another country going. We've never seen the whole world go down at once. And into a hyperinflation, the whole thing. This is amazing times. And so you can see amazing things happen. And one of the amazing things that's going to happen is this rush out of, I think it's called Gresham's Law. Anyway, rush out of bad stuff into good stuff. And this is at the center of it, right here, of the good stuff. And it might be the only thing you really own that has any financially. If you're everything else you got is dollars or denominated in dollars, the things will still remain things. Like if you got an old car, you know, maybe a classic car or something you got, or you got something, an old signed baseball card or something like that. It's still there. It's still real. But the dollars you have in your bank account, they're going to become so valueless. You might have $100,000 in the bank right now. Think what you could buy with $100,000. Buy a lot of stuff. You could go a long way right now, right this minute. But what about maybe 2-3 years down the road from now, where it's not worth the price of the gasoline to drive into the bank to try to take it out of the bank? In other words, it becomes so valueless, that money. That's what hyperinflation can do. But it does it to the money. It doesn't do it to all the other things. It doesn't do it to gold, silver. It doesn't do it to your house, your car, or anything else. Those things all remain intact. It will absolutely, if they don't pull something, the banks and stuff, I mean, it will make it easier for people who are in debt right now to get out of debt. It will make it a bit easier for them. But for savers out there, or people on fixed income, or on living off of annuities or something like that, oh, that's bad. It's bad. It's bad news. Very bad news. Anybody who's totally invested in the dollar. And this is why I've been talking up these things like on here, because I don't want to see people get burnt. And it's the average guy out there that watches my show. It's the guy out there who's like myself, just an ordinary Joe on the street kind of Joe, you know, an ordinary fella that's got a day job or whatever, you know, and trying to make a living, trying to make ends meet. He's the guy that's going to get burnt the worst. And so that's who my show is for. It's to try to get them to say, hey, I'm just going to put away a little bit of, you don't need to put away a lot of silver. Just put a little bit away. Put a little bit of gold away for yourself, a little, if you can. A little bit of silver away for yourself. Put away a few things that are going to hold their value too. You know? Doesn't need to be complicated. Maybe you go to the scrapyard every day and look around. There's a scrapyard near here. There's a bottle exchange not far from here. You know? And maybe you go there every day and see that they got a bunch of old shovels that got no handles on them. You can just buy them for the steel. Pay $1 a pound or something. I don't know. You know? Maybe they sell them by the pound. You can buy a few of those and put away for yourself. Do you know how much they're going to be worth at some point in time? Everything, because we're creating a poverty society. A society that's going to be where nobody can afford nothing and nobody's manufacturing anything anymore, and everybody's going to have to redo what they have. If your car breaks down, you're going to have to make the parts yourself to fix it. So we're going to be like Cuba, for crying out loud. We're moving in that direction. Cuba's been that way for a long time. Cuba, they got old cars they run around with, and they keep fixing them because they can't This is what happens to countries that go through hardship like Venezuela or Cuba or Zimbabwe and stuff. That's what we're becoming here, believe it or not. And maybe we will get manufacturing going after a while, but how long is that going to take? And during the interim, when we're going through the hyperinflation and stuff, it's going to be hard. Hard like we've never experienced before. And we're going to, the people, I'm just going to say the people out there, they're going to be looking for somebody to blame for this, and they're going to be upset about it because they've always had everything all their life. They wanted lobster, they could go to the grocery store and get some lobster that night. If they wanted to celebrate their birthday or whatever, you know? You move them in suddenly into a world where you take everything away from them, and you think they're going to be happy about that? I don't think so. Okay. I got off of a bit of a tear here, but I mean, 29,873 for cryptos. Bitcoin, specifically. So Bitcoin's down. Ethereum, 1895. XRP's the only one that's been holding up. In fact, it's going up a little bit. 75 cents. Wow. XRP's doing well. Dow Jones Industrial Average today at 34,946. It's up 361 points. Taking a look at the crude oil, is at 75.34. It's up $1.19. Bonds and rates today. We're looking at falling yields. U.S. 10 years fell 3.1 basis points at 3.76. And the U.S. 30 years fell 2.8 basis points at 2.89. No, 3.89, I should say. And the U.S. dollar index today, 99.85 today. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Prepare right now while you can. Honest to gosh, food price, you'd have no idea how high food might go. Doesn't hurt to have a bit of food put away, just in case. And I know that the chances of a war, actually a third world war with a nuclear war breaking out, are fairly slim. I know it's less than 50% chance of that happening. But, you know, you want to have food put away just in case that did happen. I mean, it's only a small chance, but heck, you know, I mean, if they were passing out lottery tickets down your street and they said, okay, you've got a 30% chance of winning this ticket. That's like 1 in 3. You say, hey, that's pretty good odds. When you scratched it, you know, your ticket. Well, that's about the chance, probably somewhere in that order of something getting going with a nuclear war right now, along in this period in time. Very dangerous, very high chance, very high probabilities as far as all the rest of your life. If you've been alive like a long time, like 40, 50, 60 years, all the rest of your life's been a very low chance of a nuclear thing happening. But right now, it's like 10 times higher than it used to be. But does that mean it's going to happen? No, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But it just means that you have to understand that they're on much higher alert now than they used to be. And accidents can happen when they're on high alert. And I'm just being straight with you guys. I'm just telling you straight. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to make you sad all day or anything like that, you know. I know some people in my audience might not have dealt in their mind with these facts. And now I'm hitting them with these facts and they're like, hey, you know, Glenn's probably right about that, but I've never really dealt with it mentally, and now they'd be moping around the house all day. Oh, hon, we're probably going to get blown up. No, you're not going to get blown up. It's no different than it was yesterday before I even told you about it. It's no different, you know, it's just you're being a realist now. You're realizing what these political idiots, I think that's what the root of the word politician actually means, idiot, doesn't it? Well, they got us in this mess. Because I'm going to tell you what, the people never paid for the money it took, tax-paying money to build these big 30-foot long pointed-ended things that are called NUKES. It cost us a lot of money, and it's on our tab. And this is why we work so hard. We work so hard to blow ourselves up. They did it. Wasn't us. We never said, hey, we want to commission the building of 50 of those big, powerful nuclear whatevers, and it's going to cost us like $5 billion or whatever. We were never asked. We never voted on it. We never voted for it. So that means it was done to us. All the creation of all these weapons to blow us to pieces has been done to us. You know, and I mean, at some point in the future, they'll probably have to dismantle these things if they don't use them. If they don't blow us all to hell, they'll probably at some point in the future have to dismantle them. But they're still going to be on our tab with interest. Is that fair? Then we'll have to pay for the dismantling and the disposal. We pay for it all. You know, what do they say? They talk about somebody. If somebody walked into a bar and he says, okay, I'm paying for everything. Paying for everybody's drinks. I'm paying for all their food. I'm paying for their clothing. I'm paying for this restaurant. I'm paying. They'd say, that guy's an idiot. He's paying for everything, and he's not even asking what he's paying for. He must be some sort of a idiot. Well, that's pointing the finger at us and saying we're idiots because we let them put all that on our tab without asking any questions, saying, what is this for? Oh, it's for to blow you up with. Well, no, we don't want that. Thank you very much. If you asked us first. Anyway, I'm getting off on a bit of a tear, but it just makes me mad. Who gave them the right? They took the right for themselves. They made decisions for us that we never asked them to make. And, you know, that would mean some sort of a little bit or a lot of underhandedness in one way or the other, or making us not know somehow, or keeping it from us, or keeping it secret or whatever. It's kind of like a lie of omission. You know what I mean? It's sort of thing. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next show, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.